Hello everyone and welcome back to F123 for round number 7 of the 2023 Formula 2 Championship. The end of this round marks the halfway point in the season. We had a mixed time last time out in Monaco with difficulties setting the difficulty. To continue the theme of repeating words in this intro. And that actually continues. Oh goodness me, I've done it again. But in practice, the track was damp, we were on the slick tyres still, and it kind of concealed the fact that I had not increased the difficulty up to the regular setting once more. So, yeah.
With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the feature race tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
So yeah, I did one lap, the difficulty was set to 45 as it was for the sprint race in Monaco. Which even then was probably a touch too low, but it's what we needed after making a mess of race 1 and qualifying. But yeah, race 2 was obviously much better for us, and we're able to recover to a decent result. But in qualifying, we do grab pole by almost 2 seconds, so I'm going to be increasing the difficulty all the way up to back where it was to I think 60 or 65. Typically, Spain is a more difficult circuit for me. Also, just while we're here, Teo Porcher will get reverse grid pole with Zane Maloney alongside Kush Miney. A decent qualifying, well into the top 10 this time, which is great to see for our teammate. But yeah, Spain has never been a great circuit for me. Pace-wise, it's one where I tend to struggle just a little bit more. So initially, I was going to turn the difficulty up to 60. But I thought, given that we just gave ourselves a freebie in qualifying, we'll go all the way up to 65, which is where it has been for the majority of the season. And we'll see. If this round goes well, I'll bump it up to 70. And yeah, we'll play on from there.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint race then. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? It's back to the future for the F2 drivers today. We welcome the removal of the chicane in the final sector. It will shorten lap times and reduce the length to 2.9 miles, 14 turns. This was the original setup of the track, but it hasn't been used since 2007. In the commentary box, I'm Alex Jakes. Alex Brundle is alongside me. And now, we've had sprints for years in Formula 2, but with a shorter race, how does that change your driving style?
Well, you've got the grid reversed, giving some drivers who wouldn't normally get it the opportunity to take a win or a podium home. They're going to be looking to snatch that opportunity, if at all possible.
Alrighty then, here we are on the grid, ready to go racing for the sprint race here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. A little bit of cloud towards the end of the race, nothing we should have to be concerned about, but it was damp in practice, so we will just have to be a little bit wary across the course of the weekend, just in case that weather does return. But the only thing strategy-wise we really need to look at is at what point does it become viable to pit for soft compound tyres, if indeed the safety car comes out, anywhere beyond about the 1/3 mark in the race. It might be worth considering, but that's something we'll only need to worry about if that safety car eventuates. But for now, let's go to the 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go for the sprint race in Spain. And we are pretty low revs off the line, didn't give us a great launch, but in the second phase we start building up the speed very quickly, and we immediately gain 2 spots. Maybe we'll make that 4 as we look down the inside into turn 1. We'll try and shimmy our way through on the inside line. Not a lot of room to work with as we're right up on that inside curb, and now not finding much grip through turn 3, but we've moved ourselves all the way up into P6, so it's been a really nice start to the race for us, as we're just covering the line on the way in to turn number 4. No way through on the next car just yet, but maybe a big send down the inside here. We get a bit of a squeeze, but we do make it through, and we get ahead of Oliver Behrman there. So we're up into the top 5. We've already done half the work in getting towards the front of the field in this one, but of course the the first lap is always the most opportune time to try to make some overtakes, and the competition will get stiffer for us as the race goes on. And into the next corner, we couldn't quite make anything work there, as though we did go late on the brakes. Victor Martin's the car in front now, and let's see if we can make it past the Frenchman, the recently crowned Race of Champions Nation Cup winner alongside Sebastian Loeb, and he's doing a nice job here as well. But here we go then, as we get back out onto the main straight. Let's see if we can do anything, but first we'll take a look at a replay of the start towards the front of the field, see how things played out for Teo Porcher and Zane Maloney on the front row. And it looked like a pretty even start between the two of them. The race down towards turn 1 begins. Kush Miney's getting involved there as well. Maloney locks up into turn 1, and there might have been a little bit more in that. We'll have to take a look on board, but here's the replay on board with Zane Maloney, and we'll see exactly how that happened on board with the boy from Barbados. Straight into the slipstream of Teo Porcher. Looks to the outside, looks to the inside, so a little indecisive, and then has to jam the brakes on in behind Teo Porcher towards turn 1. No contact though, so they are free to race on. Here's the onboard with Kush Miney, who we saw getting involved in that fight. Victor Martin bogged down off the start, went absolutely nowhere, did the Frenchman. So an unfortunate start for the Alpine backed driver there, and Kush Miney just keeping it nice and sensible into turn 1. They're doing a great job to move up into the podium places very early in this race. Back on board with myself though, and we'll get the move done on Victor Martins towards, or out of turn 3 towards turn 4. So finding plenty of grip there, and I did put a lot of effort in the formation lap to get these tyres up to temperature, and that might be what's helping us in the early stages of this race as we run wide there, but we stay ahead of Victor Martins. So doing well so far. It looks like Kush Miney is actually able to put a little bit of pressure on Zane Maloney.
Experience some understeer now that you're in the wake of the car ahead. Try to get past as soon as possible.
Ironically, this is the most air we've had in front of us in this race so far.
No rain expected. No rain expected for the time being.
I don't think that's quite what I meant to do. On the radio option there, I think I meant to check the status of the vehicle because I thought it was handling a little bit weird, but it might just be me driving very badly. Let's try again. Very difficult to navigate the radio through these corners.
Tyre condition still looking good.
That's what I was trying to do though, to see if there was any damage to the car, because I was struggling through that middle sector. But no, apparently that's just a driver issue there, and we'll see how things go. But that's Kush Miney making the move down the inside of Zane Maloney, and it looks like Miney's going to have the speed to get this one done. Miney ahead of Maloney, and we'll be joining the party very soon with these two. Kush Miney up into second place, as we might be looking to the inside. Maloney covers, will stick the nose in around the outside of the boy from Barbados, but we can't make that move, and Zane Maloney holds on. So still P3 for the number 3. On the exit of turn 3 though, once more we might have another opportunity to go for the move. Not this time, but we are all over that car, and we'll see maybe on the exit of turn 4, keeping it nice and tight on the inside line, and really opening the line perhaps a little bit too much as we just slightly touch Maloney's right rear tyre there. And now down the inside into turn 10, huge send to get that one done. We run just a touch wide on the exit.
Brilliant, nice move.
But we're ahead of Zane Maloney now as we head, a big slide there, and we cranked a whole bunch of opposite lock-on to save that. Maloney gets back through, so we have been just over driving a little bit in that sequence, and eventually that caught us out. So we're really pushing the limits to try and get this move done on Zane Maloney. He's doing a great job to hold on so far, but here we go towards turn 1. We have the DRS open now, and we're in the slipstream. Maloney covers, we go to the outside, and we should be able to clear the Barbados driver, and we will do just that. Moving ourselves up into third position now, And our next target is our teammate Kushmaini holding P2. So we've currently got both of our cars on the podium, which is, as a team result, among the best we would have had this season. But Maloney continues to struggle on after that. Eventually Victor Martins and Oliver Behrman get through all at once. So things slipping away for Zane Maloney, unfortunately. And the engineer did come over the radio and say that he was struggling with a mechanical problem in that car. So that's unfortunate for Zane Maloney. He was having a pretty strong race fighting for a podium, but car issues letting him down there. Trust me, I know exactly how he feels, given what's been going on in the driver career lately.
Martins has just set the fastest lap of the race.
Victor Martins, though, has some pace to burn now that he is clear of Zane Maloney, so we have to watch out that Victor Martins doesn't start coming back towards us. With that fastest lap, he's proving to be a formidable opponent in this race. But let's set our sights on Kushmaini and see if we can move ourselves ahead into second position and maybe start the chase on Teo Porcher. Kushmaini gives us the outside line. We swoop on through. We go pretty deep there, but we managed to still just about make the corner, and we move ourselves ahead of Kushmaini and back up, or all the way up I should say, into second position. Teo Porcher, though, has zoomed away from the rest of us. But as we continue on, Kushmaini gets back through in a straight line. We briefly thought about finding it into turn 1, but ultimately I decided that second and third is a fantastic result for the team. And if we can just hold this rather than trying to push for more, we can bank a huge number of team points at the end of this one. Because Porcher drives for ART. I don't think they're one of our direct opponents in the championship, in the team's championship, so it's not a huge deal if Porcher wins the race. We've got Victor Martins behind us as well, so if we can keep them at bay, we're gaining more on MP and Prema, who are the big rivals to us, and the teams that are ahead of us in the championship at the moment. So that's our target for now, is to try and hold Victor Martins at bay and protect this double podium that we have at what is the team's home race. So yeah, this is pretty big for Campos. If they can get 2 cars on the podium here, that's going to be massive. And I'm playing the rear gunner role myself because I'm not sure Kushmaini will be able to defend with the same success. And we're using the DRS from Kushmaini to keep Victor Martins at bay, and it's working very well for us actually. And we've got into a pretty nice rhythm, just following on with our teammate, not getting too close to the point that he's defending from us or feeling the pressure in any way. We're just keeping it clean, keeping ourselves out of the dirty air as well whenever we can, although we drift quite wide there. Just little lapse of concentration. That allows...
Try to stay with them. They might make a mistake and we could still regain the position.
that allows Victor Martins through. We send it around the outside, but we can't keep it there. And Victor Martins moves up into third position. Now it's going to be interesting to see if we can get the move back ahead of Victor Martins in the next lap or so. We need to get it done before Martins closes in to Kushmaini, because as we saw, Victor Martins did previously set the fastest lap of the race. It doesn't belong to anyone in the top 5 at the moment, so Victor Martins is definitely going to want to get that back, and so are we if we can. But we do get the move back on Victor Martins, moving ourselves back up into P3. But yeah, I don't know actually who has the fastest lap at the moment. But either way, we continue to race on. Victor Martins throws it around the outside into turn 1. We block that one off and move ourselves back up into third position after once again just losing for the briefest of moments. And yeah, this is it's a very defensive race, I suppose. I could have probably gone chasing after Teo Porcher, but truth be told, once we moved ahead of Kushmaini, I actually really struggled to stay in the rhythm for that one lap we were ahead. It was quite difficult for me to hit my marks, and I always find it easier when there's a car in front to chase. So as we send it around the outside there, that was a very bold decision to take that apex. Easy on board to see that from Victor Martins, who was well clear at the time. We hit the brakes, but we slammed the brakes on so much later, and we were able to clear the nose of Victor Martin's car before taking that apex. So risky, but we made it work. Meanwhile, that's one of the Prema cars with a big plume of smoke out the back. Goodness me. And that is Oliver Behrman, who will retire from the race with a big mechanical failure there. And his hopes of a points finish go up in smoke.
Final lap, push, push.
Back on board with myself though as we head towards turn 1 for the final time, and Victor Martin's closing in as well. We're going to have to block this one off as we head into T1, and would run just slightly wide of the line, keep Martin's out high and wide, make sure it's impossible for the ART driver to make that move around the outside, and we'll maintain this one. He's on board with Martin's. Little bit cheeky, just a slight bit of contact there. That's for beating us in the race of champions, and yeah, we hold on to that position. But out in front, it has been a masterful drive from Teo Porcher, leading from start to finish. The Frenchman takes victory here in Spain and takes ART to the top step of the podium. Great drive from Teo Porcher. We'll bring it around the final corner, missing the apex by a mile, but Martins isn't close enough to get the run. It's a 2-3 for Campos.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
And that should get us right back on track in the team's championship. That's huge. Awesome result for the team there.
This man likes a celebration, and he's got the opportunity to do it. Teo Porcher takes the checkered flag.
Well, sprint races are basic, aren't they? And that's why we like them. Set them all going and let them have at it. And they really showed the racecraft and pace that you need to win one.
ART, the French team who have been racing since the 90s in various forms of motorsport, are once again back on the winner's podium today after a brilliant display of driving skill.
Well, it's a lights to flag victory for Teo Porcher. He did not put a foot wrong throughout that entire race. Second place for Kushmini and P3 for myself make it a double podium for Campos at their home race.
There will be plenty more twists and turns to come this season. I hope you'll join us at the next race when Formula 2 returns.
Well, there we have it. Let's have a little run through the finishing order of the race before we get into the drivers and team standings. Of course, you can kind of see it on the screen now anyway, but we'll talk through it. Of course, it was Porcher ahead of Miney and myself in the race. Then it was Victor Martins ahead of Dennis Hauger, Ayumu Iwasa, Frederic Vesti, and Arthur Leclerc rounding out the points finishers. And it was Frederic Vesti who took the fastest lap out of the top 8. Rounding out the top 10, just to complete the list, we have Brad Benavides and Clement Novalak. Dane Deruvela just missing out on the top 10, not that it's worth anything in the sprint race. In terms of the drivers' standings then, we lead the way there, 30 points clear of both the Prema driver of Frederic Vesti and the MP Motorsports driver of Dennis Hauger. And then it's 49 points back to the other MP Motorsports driver of Jane Deruvela, and 50 points back to the first of the ART guys, Teo Porcher. And then only a further 2 points behind Porcher is Oliver Behrman, the second of the Prema drivers. So you can see why both Prema and MP are so formidable. And in the team's championship, separated by just 3 points in favour of MP Motorsport. And despite Kushmini being a bit further down the order, we are just 7 points behind MP Motorsport, just 4 points behind Prema. So a good feature race could see us overhaul those two teams, but we're going to need Kushmini up there as well. He'll be starting out of P7 in the feature race, so there will definitely be an opportunity for some big points in that one if Miney can just gain a couple of spots, and if we of course can hold on to the race lead. But yeah, our pace was decent enough in that race, and I think we certainly can push for the top results in the feature race. We'll be starting from pole position, of course, so we really don't have any excuses in that one. Teo Porcher will be buried in the pack, but there could be some other fast guys towards the front that we'll need to watch out for. I believe it's Dennis Hauger and Yumi Iwasa who will be starting immediately behind us, and they have both been pretty quick all season. But yeah, it's great to see our teammate getting racy today, making overtakes, and just being in amongst the action, fighting for some good points, because he has a lot of ground to make up in the championship. Sitting down in P10, like I said, we really need Kushmaini up in the points on a regular basis, and bringing in a little bit more, because it's we're not doing it single-handedly. Kushmaini has brought in a decent number of points, but it would make the team's championship a lot more comfortable if they could just bring in just a few more, and this has been an encouraging start to the weekend. But anyway, let's get into the feature race.
Hello and welcome to the Circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya. We're counting down to the start of today's race, and you can feel the excitement in the air. This promises to be a real spectacle. It's back to the future for the F2 drivers today. We welcome the removal of the chicane in the final sector. It will shorten lap times and reduce the length to 2.9 miles, 14 turns. This was the original setup of the track, but it hasn't been used since 2007. Well then, after an exciting session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. It's Ralph Boschung on pole position today, with Ayumu Iwasa alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hauger, Vesti, Ollie Behrman, Leclerc, Miney, Martins, Maloney, Teo Porcher, Benavides, Novalak, Jan Deruvala, Richard Verschoor, Cordial, Fittipaldi, Hadjar, Juan Manuel Correa, Crawford, Doohan, Stanek, and Roy Nissany completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Alrighty then, so we're ready to go for the feature race here in Spain. I skipped over the second half of the race intro because Alex Brundle decided to go for a little waffle about the changeable conditions. It's going to be all dry at the start. There might be a chance of rain at the end, but highly unlikely given the length of a feature race, and the fact the rain's only on that last icon, and usually the rain comes later than it says. So
Right, let's get the car up to temperature on this lap, please. We're loading the gears, so let's go through them all if you can. Conditions look stable at the moment. No rain currently expected.
yeah, confirmation there on the formation lap, which I don't normally show much of, or any of these days. I used to back in the day, but sort of decided it was a bit pointless, but I decided to put that little clip in there just to emphasize the point. But anyway, we come in then to the box at the end of the formation lap, and yeah, we have to manually park the cars these days.
Okay, incredible parking there, nice one. That's going to give you the edge if you can get a good launch as the race starts.
It doesn't do it automatically,
Okay, so that's the...
as we're on the limits of where we could have parked there. But anyway, as we're desperately trying to get back into the right camera angle, 5 red lights are on, and it's lights out, and away we go from pole position here in the feature race in Spain. And it's a great launch for us. Not a good start for Ayumu Iwasa, who did a great job in qualifying, but immediately falls away at the start of the race. Dennis Hauger's through, and as one of the drivers tied for second in the championship, he will be keen to try and get the win today. But we are nice and smooth through the first few corners and have gained a whole bunch of time. So as you saw a little bit of, we put a big effort into getting the tyres up to temperature, soft tyres, so we can actually get them into a very good operating window on the formation lap itself, and we are straight onto it and straight up to speed, while everyone else still, maybe the tyres are a little bit on the cooler side. Here's the start on board with Kushmaini, and we'll see how our teammate fared off the line, starting down in P7, and it was alright launch off the line. Manages to hold position towards turn 1, but there's a car on the inside, and I have a feeling that might be Victor Martins, who we had all that fighting with in the previous one, and the Frenchman does get through, unfortunately, on Kushmaini. So Our teammate loses a spot and drops into P8 off the start. Towards turn 1, we're under pressure, and we're not far into the race. We've completed 3 full laps, we're on to lap 4 now, and we're already under pressure. So once Dennis Hauger and co behind us manage to get their tyres up to temperature, they have a little bit more pace than I
You
do.
only have to stop once now. 1 stop left. You've got 10 laps until your pit window opens. Pit
And it's a
window
long-
opens in 10 laps.
A long way before we get to make a pit stop, so we're gonna have to try and deal with this situation for a while before we get back onto the hard tyres, which I was feeling a bit more comfortable on. But Dennis Hauger is repeatedly coming at us now, and down the inside goes the Norwegian driver. Side by side we go through the first few corners. We'll see if we can hold it around the outside through turn 3. It can be tricky to hold it all the way around the outside here, but we're going to try, and we'll immediately cover on the exit and make sure there's no way for Dennis Hauger to go up the inside into turn 4. So feisty little battle there, and we managed to hold on to the race lead. We continue on though, and Dennis Hauger through down the inside. Again we go late on the brakes, give him some room on the inside, and Dennis Hauger's through, and we just had to let it go that time. We couldn't fight it around the outside any longer, and Dennis Hauger is up into the race lead. So we're struggling for pace a little bit more in this one. Like I was just saying, we're not as comfortable on the soft compound tyres, so we'll see what we can do if we can come back at Dennis Hauger later on, either in the stint or sometime after their pit stop, but we'll see. On the straight though, in the DRS, we're gaining pretty quickly here, and it shows the power of the DRS. Look at the straight line speed advantage we've got down the inside, a little bit deep, but that gives us the inside line for the next left-hander, and we're through. So we managed to get that one done, and now as we continue on, we are a fair way clear, but a bit too much curb there, and we have just a little bit of a slide. Here comes Hauger again to the outside. Oh, Hauger losing it in a straight line there. Goodness me, that was a lucky escape there for Dennis Hauger, and now that allows Oliver Behrman through down the inside. We'll send it round the outside of the Prema driver as we go wheel to wheel, just barely keeping the nose in it through turn 2.
Okay, good work. Great pass.
And we managed to keep it ahead of Oliver Behrman, so there's a great little fight there, and now it's time for us to go diving off into pit lane, and we'll hopefully be able to settle things down after this. So into the box we come then, and we are followed in by one of the Red Bull livery cars, so it'll be interesting to see how the pit stop cycle plays out as we approach our pit box. Hopefully the boys can deliver a clean pit stop, and
Okay, go, go, go. Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one.
perhaps a slight hold, but I think overall we've actually
That was
gained a
our
chunk of
last
time
stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go.
through that pit stop cycle, because yeah, we are well clear of anyone else on pit exit. So yeah, we have made a nice efficient pit stop there, and we're looking good. It'll just be interesting to see now where the others are, and if it's the undercut or overcut that pays off in this situation. But right now we're looking fine. We'll soon find out, because into the pits come the rest of the field, including Kushmaini. So we'll see how the pit stop cycle goes for our teammate, and might be a little bit of a hold up there, and a whole bunch of cars go through, unfortunately. So that's a shame for our teammate. You can see the Alpine liveried car there, so that was Victor Martins, and Kushmaini coming right behind Victor Martins, and now there's a few cars in between. So that's 2 positions lost there for Kushmaini. Just a bit of a shame that it played out that way. But Kushmaini does come out ahead of everyone who pit on my lap, with the exception of myself. But even we struggled to hold on to position. We'll soon see our on board, but Kushmaini has dropped in and has actually gained positions throughout that cycle, despite losing in his actual pit stop. Here's the on board with myself towards turn 1. We had to go full send round the outside of Victor Martins to get that one done. So that is the power of the overcut in this situation, because yeah, Kushmaini was down in 8th, Victor Martins was 7th, and now Victor Martins is up to 3rd. So yeah, unfortunately it hasn't worked out quite as well for Kushmini, but he's still well and truly up there, and in amongst potentially for a top 5 by the end of the race if he can keep the fight going and keep moving forwards. Anyway, Dennis Hauger has the lead, but not for much longer. We're going to make the move to the inside. Hauger, a little bit of an awkward defense there. We had to do a double move to the inside to get that one done, but with a big send into turn 1, we're through into the race lead once more.
Nice move, good job.
So, yeah, that's exactly what we needed to do, and now we'll see if we can pull away and retake the fastest lap of the race that Dennis Hauger currently holds as we crank it sideways through turn 4. But thankfully we get away with that without spinning. We go back to Kushmini then, and currently in front of our teammate is Zane Maloney once more. So this battle from the previous race is about to reignite between Kushmini and Zane Maloney, with the Indian driver getting the DRS along the main straight towards turn 1, and there'll be a look to the inside here. Is there anything Zane Maloney can do in defense? I don't think there is. Kushmini gets through and moves up into the top 5. And that's some big points for our teammate if he can hold on to that position. So Kushmini moving in all the right directions as a Yumu Iwasa. It's already been a troubled race for the Japanese driver after starting on the front row. It's a mechanical failure, and Yumu Iwasa is out. Back to Kushmini, and Zane Maloney is not going to let this one go. Not going to let it slide like he did in the previous race. Zane Maloney comes down the inside of Kushmini. Frederick Vesti getting involved as well. Side by side they go. And Zane Maloney might be able to get this one done. They're going to continue running side by side into turn 3. Maloney through. Kushmini slots back into line to make sure Frederick Vesti can't get involved in this fight. But it won't last too long, because Kushmini straight away gets back through on Zane Maloney, who covers off Frederick Vesti nicely there. And the Dane struggling to get into this fight, but clearly has the pace to do so. But these two...
Rain is forecast in just over 10 minutes time. Rain in 10 minutes.
Placing their cars well. Rain possibly quite soon, but I think the end of the race will come sooner. So while there is weather around, I don't think it's going to be a problem for us in this race. But we're out in front, we're leading, we're having a good time. And yeah, we are starting to put in some pretty good consistent laps, which I am really enjoying. Usually I struggle to lead, and as I say that, have a little bit of a moment there, find an alternative layout of the circuit for a moment, but we get back on track. But yeah, like I was saying, I struggle to lead sometimes, but I really got into a good rhythm for the most part there, aside from that one little moment where things got out of hand. But we managed to get away with it and get back on course, and we carry on, lose a bit of time, but we had the buffer. Zane Maloney back down the inside of Kushmini though towards turn 1. They duke it out once more into the same sequence of corners where they've gone wheel to wheel several times throughout the weekend, and it's going to be Zane Maloney coming out on top this time. Once again Kushmini cuts back onto the racing line before Vesti has any chance to get involved, and the Dane must be getting so frustrated seeing these two fight away. On board with Kushmini now to the outside of Zane Maloney this time, and Maloney thinks about the move to the inside but can't brake late enough, and Kushmini retakes the position on the outside line. Awesome stuff from Kushmini.
You're in first position, front of the pack. Martins is behind you now.
Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Your pit window is open. Pit window currently open.
4 laps remaining. Gap to your teammate behind, 11.9 seconds.
Is it just me, or does he sound even more British in Fast Forward? Anyway. Oh, more radio.
So we're expecting rain in about 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, okay, so rain's still nowhere near us with just a couple of laps to go in the race now, so it's not something we're going to have to worry about as we continue to lead the way. Our teammate a fair way behind us, but still holding on to that critical 5th place. So, yeah, he's having to fight for it. Maloney seems to come back at him every once in a while, but overall it seems like Miney is able to get the overtakes done a little bit easier and able to hold on to the position for a little bit longer than Maloney ever can. So as we continue on this lap, which is our best lap of the race that we are currently on, we are yeah, we're well and truly on our way to the race win. As long as we don't make any mistakes, we should be absolutely fine. But of course there's always you know, wild cards that can you know, throw themselves up at any given point in time. whatever that may be. So it's not over till it's over, but we're looking strong and in the best position we could be at this point. But round the final corner we come, and it's been a pretty tidy lap. We go faster yet again, and that'll cement
Leading the pack, that's P1.
the fastest lap of the race for us. As we continue on then at the end of lap 36.
Okay, final lap, let's go, final lap.
Here we go then. Last lap of the race. Mark knows what's coming, so long as we can keep it together. But further back, there are still a lot of battles left to play out, because there is a high-pressure train behind the ongoing fight between Kushmini and Zane Maloney. It goes Vesti ahead of Pourchaire, and then Leclerc. Vesti goes deep. Pourchaire straight away up the inside, and straight away trying to take that opportunity. Side by side they go now. It's just been the slightest of mistakes by Frederick Vesti. A lock-up just carted him off the racing line, and Pourchaire now has the opportunity to make the move, and they both might lose DRS here to the train in front. So Frederick Vesti might have held off Pourchaire there, but it might not be the best position to be in down towards turn 1, because Pourchaire is going to have a mega slipstream and DRS assistance towards turn 1. Pourchaire to the inside. Watch out for Leclerc as well, as Teo Pourchaire makes the move up into P7. Leclerc trying to go around the outside of Frederick Vesti. Vesti with the upper hand in that battle at the moment as they run side by side. It looks like Frederick Vesti is going to hold on to that one, but he can only watch as Teo Pourchaire goes blazing off into the distance, holding the position he should have finished in with a mistake in the very closing moments of this race. Leclerc not able to capitalize on those two fighting away as we now come around the final corner, and it has been an awesome race for us. We've put in some really nice laps towards the end, and it's going to be a race win on home soil for the team. Awesome stuff.
Ah, fantastic drive, that's just fantastic, amazing, you deserved that race win. Well done, mate.
And with Kushmini in P5, that should get us back in front in the team's championship. Awesome race, awesome weekend for the team.
A brilliant drive of control and class. Ralph Boschung takes the checkered flag.
Well, it's the team's local track, and you'd think that'd give them a little bit of an advantage, but they put on a show for the fans out there today who will be checking in on their progress.
I can see them on their way out to the podium now. Campos have come a really long way in this sport, and what a special race this was to see them earn the top spot.
There is no better way to take Campos back to the top of the team's championship standings than a race victory at Catalunya at their home circuit. It's second place for Victor Martins and P3 for Oliver Behrman.
After all this drama, you would be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
Oh well, there we go. That brings an end to a very fruitful weekend in Spain, both for us and for the team. I know I've been talking about the team a lot, but you know, it is their home round, so it's only fair that we gave them a little priority this time. But anyway, it was in, well, let's try that again. Let's run through the top 10 in the race. It was myself ahead of Victor Martins, Oliver Behrman, Dennis Hauger, then Kushmini doing a great job to hold off Zane Maloney throughout the latter half of that race. Teo Pourchaire getting the better of Frederick Vesti on the final lap. And then it was Arthur Leclerc and Jane Deruvala rounding out the point scorers in this one. We grabbed the fastest lap in that race as well. And just on a side note, Kushmini actually scored third for the weekend, which is absolutely awesome. I love to see that. And yeah, scored less points than only myself and Victor Martins. And just on that note, we scored 34, Martins 23, 18 for Kushmini, 16 for Teo Pourchaire. So yeah, great weekend for Kushmini, and bringing in a very decent haul of points this time. So we just really need to hope that he can keep that up throughout the rest of the season. In terms of the drivers' standings then, we lead the way there, of course. Dennis Hauger now 44 points adrift, with Frederick Vesti 52 points adrift. So yeah, the team's champion, so driver championship spreading out a little bit. Oliver Behrman moves up into 4th in the standings there. Victor Martins actually overhauls his teammate up into P5 ahead of Porcher. Then Jane Daruvula drops to P6, so letting the team, or drops into P7 rather, so letting MP down a little bit, with Dennis Hauger all the way up in 2nd position. Kushmani maintains P10, now just 3 points behind Brad Benavides, so trending in the right direction for our Indian teammate. But anyway, that is going to do it for this one, I think. I've still got just over 30 seconds I need to ramble on for, so yeah, we're at the halfway mark in the championship now, so you know, it really is crunch time. We've got some great circuits coming up on the calendar soon, so yeah, I'll be pumping the difficulty up a little bit more, just to try and equalize things that extra bit. But yeah, other than that, I think that's all there is to cover for this one, so I will say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Please feel free to give me some feedback in the comments. It is always very helpful, and other than that, I will see you in the next one, and goodbye.